If you want to understand what you have to do and what you should be thinking about to adapt and evolve your agency or your small service-based business to not only stand the test of time, but to compete with all of the things out there like AI and tech that are going to impact how you do what you do and what your clients actually value, then check out today's video. We're going to be diving in with Justin Brooke, the owner and CEO of AdSkills.com. Welcome back, guys. Greg here with Alt Agency, and I'm super pumped. This video today is a little bit different. This is a long form interview with myself and Justin Brooke, like I said, founder of AdSkills.com. We cover a lot of things in this video and this interview that I think if you are a small service-based business or an agency that is looking to grow and scale and be profitable and also build a business that will last, then this is a must watch. If you have to, break it up into segments, that's totally fine. But we're going to cover, one, his journey from being an apprentice to people like Russell Brunson, owner of ClickFunnels, to dabbling with online courses, to building a thriving seven-figure lead generation and media buying agency, to then adding courses back into his agency, and now building AdSkills.com, which is on the trajectory to be a multi-million-dollar publishing company. And all of the evolutions along the way, both from the entrepreneurial side and also what you should be thinking about as a service-based business. Warning, something went wrong with my audio in this video. For some reason, even though my mic showed as working, it didn't come through. So my audio is a little bit less than what the standard is, a lot less than the standard. So hopefully you can get past that for today's video. The team did the best they could to improve it. But nonetheless, the conversation is really powerful, and I hope you enjoy. Justin, dude, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to chat with us. I've been following you, like I said, before we started recording for a while, and there's just some topics that I think you seem to be executing on that have resonated a lot with me, and I believe will resonate a lot with the folks in this group. So first, thank you for taking the time.
Oh, absolutely, man.
So like I kind of mentioned, I want to cover a couple different topics around like your evolution from, I don't know if you'd ever call yourself a freelancer, but like service provider into agency, now into multi-million-dollar publishing company, what that looks like, why that might be important for other service providers to look at and be paying attention to. And, also just your self-evolution of, being involved in the online business game, being maybe pulled in certain directions, and then making sure you're coming back to doing what you wanted to do and focused on, building a business that was your dream business versus, say, other people's. But for those of you, or for those people that are watching that might not know exactly who you are, founder of AdSkills, can you kind of do like the minute long, like who's Justin Brooke?
Sure. Got started in 2007, which makes me like an internet grandpa at this point. I'm like, been doing
the
this.
Year of the iPhone.
Yeah. 17 years now. And got started with Russell Brunson. He was my original mentor. Went and worked for him for free. My job was to study this closet full of courses. It's $250,000 of courses. So I got to learn from Dan Kennedy, Chet Holmes, Joe Polish, Stephen Pierce, the greats of the greats of the greats. So I got the education of a lifetime, but it was an unpaid internship. So I took that education of a lifetime, went home, pitched my girlfriend, who's now my wife, on why I should start Google Ads, because that was like the course that I watched that really gave me an epiphany. For me, advertising had always been like billboards, TV, newspaper,
right.
It was always things you had to ask permission for and spend lots of money. And all of a sudden, here's Google Ads. You don't have to ask permission. You can, for $100 a day, you can tell the whole world about your product. So I went home, started Google Ads with a pathetic little $2 a day budget, but ended up doubling my money 6 months in a row. So literally took $60 and turned it into six figures. And that's why advertising's been my thing ever since. Went on to have an agency. Dan Kennedy was a client, Ryan Dice, John Assaraf, a lot of the biggest names who were our clients. Ended up switching that because we were over in Bali, and I was trying to do like 1 a.m. calls with the Dan Kennedy's GKIC team, and that wasn't working for my lifestyle. So we launched a course while we were out there, made 48 grand in a weekend. 48 grand is decent money, but in Bali, That's billions, I mean, you have enough money to buy whatever you want. You can buy a trillion bananas for $48,000. So that was a great war chest for us to pivot our business into the course thing. And now we're AdSkills. We've had a long series of that, but that's my pedigree and
Yeah.
how I got here.
I love it. Yeah. And for those that are watching it, maybe haven't heard of Justin, when Justin posts anything about he kind of gives these State of the Union, hey, just a reminder, this is how things really work type posts. I'm favorite, send a team, say pay attention everybody, because nobody calls it like I think you do. And you do it in a way where it's not hey, everybody, you're stupid for not knowing this. It's it's very, it's very just it just seems, I feel that you're I need to help people and let them see both the pitfalls and the opportunity. That's how I always receive your posts, coming from a really good place versus say some others that are out there that want to make you feel dumb. So thank you for that. But your posts are, I'm all right, the truth has been told. Everyone, let's refer back to Justin.
It usually takes about 18 months for what I say. And that's the problem is people, it's so far ahead that, I get laughed at. I get all the comments. It's whatever. For me, it's just, I'm just trying to get something off my heart. It's hey, yeah. I think this is going to happen and y'all should watch out. And I know most of y'all ain't going to listen, but I want to be able to, one, link back and be hey, I told you. And then two, for the 3 guys that do listen to me, hey, we did it. Remember when we made that change, and it's cool to see that stuff happen. So
yeah, maybe at the end we'll kind of quickly cover a little bit about media buying today and your opinion on that. Although that wasn't really the purpose of this conversation, but if we have a little bit of time, we can maybe cover that for a minute. But so you kind of gave us the high level kind of trajectory of your career so far. And it's I really want to hone in on the AdSkills becoming this media publishing company, which it sounds like is a fascinating topic that we should all be covering. But obviously in the trajectory to that, and was it when you launched that course and decided to maybe pivot, you also went through kind of a personal transformation of hey, I'm doing this thing. And it seemed from afar that you got some flack for that. And you decided to redesign how you do business and think about business and life in general. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there. You want me to start at this agency to course? And then we'll talk about why I changed my course. Okay. Agency, we were doing great. I mean, we had the biggest names as client. I was speaking all over the world. I'm in Bali, right? I'm doing pretty good. I'm in Bali with Dan Kennedy as my client. I'm doing all right. And but the problem was I started looking at, where the industry was going, where I wanted to go personally, just my own lifestyle and whatever. And I realized I was at the point in my agency where it was okay, I'm either going to be a boutique agency, a few but high dollar clients, or I need to go the Gary V route. And love Gary V, love to watch him, love to read him. I don't want to live that guy's life. I just, that just ain't for me. And so I was no, I definitely do not want this huge, office, 200 people company, HR. I just don't want that. That's not, what I want. And then I didn't want to just have a small boutique agency. So I had been selling courses before the agency. So my early days when I started out, I was actually selling courses. And so we kind of made the decision, me and my wife, that we just wanted to go back to that world. And it was a great time because I had the name, I had the reputation, I was speaking, I had, the momentum for me. So it was easy to make that switch. Also, in our agency days, we were downselling clients into courses. So we had launched an official, media buying masters kind of we sold it at 500, but it would be the typical $1,000 course launch. Prior to that, we had these, smaller courses, little Facebook ad thing, little Google ad thing. And what we would do is we learned from a business coach that when we're on a sales call, whether they say yes or no to us, they're going to buy something that week. They might not buy from you, but they're going to buy something. They're going to find a solution. Like, we're humans, especially if you're in the United States, like, we're just buying stuff every week. It's what we do, and then we buy bigger houses, and then we buy storage so that we can fit things that don't even fit in our house. So I realized that, like, okay, so one, they would say yes to my service, or they are going to go and they're going to buy from the conversion rate optimization guy, or they're going to buy from the funnel builder guy, or they're going to buy from the WordPress web designer, or they're not ready for traffic yet, and so they're going to buy a course. So I orchestrated the ability to make a sale no matter what on that call. So if they were not going to buy my service, I had friends, I had like 5-6 referral partners that I'd push them over to if they weren't a fit for me. And if they just weren't ready for traffic, I would sell them a course. Instead, I'd say, hey, it sounds like you still need to kind of figure out your landing pages or this and that. So I'll downsell them in the course. That way, no matter what, we were getting paid somewhere or another on that call, even if they said no to our service. And that was like the beginnings of us moving into the course world, is because we had a little bit of that already. So that's the change there. Any questions on that before? Right?
Yeah. So it sounds like that in the early days, were most of those courses affiliate partners versus actually your own courses?
They were our own, but they were small, like 90-minute long, introductory Facebook ads. It was like somebody would come to us and they never run an ad before. And I was like, well, we're not going to, you need to like get a few things in place first. I'd love to help you. I'm not the like spend your first dollar agency. We weren't set up for that.
Right.
And so our minimum price was $25,000 a month that they had to be spending. So what we would do is we'd take those people who weren't ready. We'd say, hey, look, we got a course that's going to get you prepared. And then when you're ready, we'll take over your traffic and we'll blow it up for you. And so that's kind of what we were doing.
Got it. And then so from there, where do we go? Okay.
So that was working out well. And then we go over to Bali and we do the big course, Media Buying Masters, and then from there it's like, okay, well, we've been selling these little courses. We sold this big course. We have, kind of the attention of the market is on us right now. I think we could build something. I think we could build it. So we started dmbionline.com. It doesn't exist anymore. Nobody go there. It was a mistake and nobody could remember the letters or what place the letters were in. But we had done a lot of work with Agora. Had built up a great friendship with the owners, founders of Agora. And so they had AWAI Online, which is their copywriting farm. Basically they just have thousands and thousands of copywriters and they can cherry pick the best ones, plug them into their Agora business. And I said, okay, I see what you're doing there. I'll build you the media buyer version of it. And so I started all this just to be like a quick flip. I was like, I'll build the media buyer version of AWAI, sell it to them, and I'll be out. I thought I'd maybe sell it for like 500,000. Got it up to the point, pitched them the idea, and it was crickets. And I was like, crap, what do I do now? I'm sitting here with a course business. And so then, I was like, okay, well, nobody, they don't want to buy this. So we got to switch our strategy a little bit. I hired a brand consultant. I don't know what you'd even call them, but they went and found us the AdSkills name, trademark, all that. So they went and did a bunch of research, presented a big spreadsheet full of names with a couple of recommendations. And so we were almost AdSchool. We were almost paidtraffic.com, but then we ultimately picked AdSkills.com instead because all the social media was available for it. And so that's when we became AdSkills. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to really build this out into a course business. And, since then we mostly did free book to like big bundle, you get everything kind of thing for $5,000. And we built that up to millions with that model up until 2020. And that is when, or 2021, and that is when we switched, did great. Literally 2020, we were trying to do 2 million. We did 1.9. I'm still calling it 2. You get to round up. My teacher told me after 5, you get to round up. So
yeah, do it. I'll give it to you.
So we get there and I realized like, it's just not going to get, there was never going to get it to 10 million. The model we were doing, there was no recurring revenue, had to keep coming up with a new promotion every single month. It's like you're on the launch hamster wheel. And even though I was driving my own traffic, because I'm a traffic guy, and I didn't have to worry about JVs. I'm still on my own hamster wheel, just without no friends. You know? And so that just was, maybe I could have got it to 3 million, but I was just pushing the team really hard. And then I realized that our mission of helping agencies wasn't aligned with our price, because $5,000 for most agencies, that's like their whole month. Like that's, all their revenue of the month. And and then we were, getting some international customers, and this Nigeria customer, his whole family was saving up so that he could be able to buy the AdSkills package for like, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. It's a cool story. I don't know that that's right in my heart. Like, I don't know that that's really what I'm trying to do in this world.
Right.
Does it make money? Yeah. Does it make millions? Yeah. Does it make me look cool on Facebook? Yeah. But like in my heart, is that really like what I want to be in this world? And so, we said, okay, well, we have this great business. We have a war chest of, we had 6 months expenses saved up. So we had a surplus of cash. I said, now's the time to move. And so we changed our model to what it is now, a little bit more like a Netflix model. And I love that we made that change. It's much more in line. Anybody can afford it. And the great part is, it's like, it's not, should we buy, like a lot of it was like digital marketer or AdSkills. Love those guys. I don't want to compete with you guys. I love you. Love Molly, Ezra, Ryan. But at our new price, it's not of this or that. But at our new price, it's very easy to buy both, and so it removes that like competitiveness of it. So that's why we made that switch. I just wanted to be more in line with like, how do we really help people? Like if we're talking about new businesses who don't even yet know how to spend $100 a day profitably, how are they going to buy something for $5,000? We sell it to them for $20 and we help them. And then we have like a way of, ascending them up the funnel.
Inside of that, like the personal evolution, where like you didn't feel right about it. Like I recall posts where you were just kind of talking about like, and I might be putting my words into your mouth, but it felt like I went through a stage where I was like, I feel like I'm building a business that someone else told me to build and it doesn't feel right. And that's part of why I have this friction and I need to do something about it. And it feels like you went through that phase. Is that where we are in the journey, where like when you started changing the price, people were like, what the hell are you doing? And that's where some of this aha came from, or was it somewhere else?
Yeah, if we're going to get down to the root of it, get really personal. I mean, the real reason I was in Bali is I was running away. I mean, I had crossed the magical 7-figure line. But I remember asking my wife if she wanted to go to the movies on a Friday, and she was like, we can't, we're broke. And I was like, wait, what? How are we broke? Like, we're a 7-figure, business. But I had a 6-bedroom house, had 3 different air conditioning units in that house, brand new truck, jet ski, 2 Xboxes, 2 PlayStations. I mean, I had everything. I had everything anybody could want. I had the backyard pool, and I had, everything that anybody could want, but I was broke having it all. And so, we went and traveled the world and to figure things out and changed our whole like philosophy and business model. And even some of that still existed in AdSkills, where I still had like a guru business, but I didn't like, there was never a point in my career where I was like, you know what? I would really aspire to be a guru, like it was, I wanted to build a business. But anyways, like based on all these different books, I had like these businesses that they tell you to build, I had the funnel that they tell you to build, and, that's in all the different masterminds and sales pages. And it just didn't really resonate with who I was. And so I believe it's your business. You can build it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the most profit maximized version of it. It can be your own form of art. And as long as you're happy with it, as long as it aligns with who you are and your goals, then you're fine. But it's when you're not in alignment, you create an internal stress and a dialogue. And that's where I felt I was. Here I was trying to do something that I felt could really help the world, that could really, go all over the globe, not just the United States, but my actions just weren't there. So
do you ever still have like feelings where you're like, is this the right move to be making, or should I have stuck with that? Like, and, or when you see peers that maybe you used to compare yourself to? Like, how did you deal with that? Because like I'm like, I feel like I had the moment where like, all right, like I know that that's, you know, some of that guru stuff that you talk about is like, that's not what I was trying to do, despite some people thinking that that's what I'm doing. It's like, that's not what I wanted. It's like, now I'm kind of clear I'm going over this direction, but like, man, am I making a big mistake?
Yeah. Well, in our industry, specifically marketing, not even just business, but specifically like our marketing space, it's so money driven, revenue driven. How many millions are you making? How many figures are you? How many commas do you have? You know, it's like our identity becomes the money. And that doesn't sit very well with me. I didn't want to be that way, but it's hard because here I am now, you know, like I get upset, I get embarrassed, you know, like I'm even prefacing right now that I'm only a $30,000 a month business, when that's like horrible mindset. I mean, we should be so happy, you know. I should be like, I'm a $30,000 a month, you know, like that. I did it, you know. But we just have this like sick way of thinking sometimes in our space, where you have to be these bigger numbers, and if you're not, then you're not worth anything. And that's, you know, I just don't believe in that anymore. But it is hard to deal with because you still have to deal with like the social media and, you know, publishing those numbers and being okay with it. And but I know that I made the right choice. My customers tell me all the time. You know, I had one, and I think this is, I tell this one because it's shocking, not because I really like believe, but we were on a call, and this guy, he got up and he was like, you know, I'm so thankful. You know, every morning I wake up and I thank God and I thank Justin Brooke. And I was like, I'm just glad you said God first, man, because you know, it should not be the other way around. You know, and so that's, but it's just a sign that we're doing something, that we're on the right, that I'm really trying, you know, I'm helping in the world. You know, I don't want to like, I'm getting older. I'm 40. You know, I'm not saying I'm like, you know, I'm retiring or anything, but I'm getting older, and I'm starting to think about like, what is it going to say on my tombstone? You know, is it going to say I sold a lot of ebooks? I hope not. You know, I hope it says I did something more than sell a lot of ebooks. You know, or man, he built a great funnel. I hope it says something more than that. So that's, you know, where I am. My team, it's a little bit tougher on my team because they're like, hey, we had all this, we had the security, you know, they felt much safer. And so that's where my big stress is right now, is trying to make my team feel safe and see, you know, show them the vision, you know, get them on board. And we got a great team now. And they see the vision, they're on board, and we know where we're going. And for anybody who says, oh, you made the wrong choice, just keep watching. I've been around here for a little bit. So
yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I like I said, I feel like have had moments of that, and still some of like, you know, like you said, the social media, like the remnant of, man, like, am I making the right decision? You know, like, oh, like, am I as good as insert name? It's like, it's not about that at all. And like, I turned 40 in a few months. So right there with you. And like, I have all these thoughts too. I'm like, I have 2 kids. It's like they don't care about that. Like, I mean, I want them to see that I work hard and that I love what I'm doing and that I'm helping people, and at the most inspire them to like do whatever they want. Right. Versus having to like follow someone else's path.
And that's what this industry was founded on. You know, if you look back at the Declan Dunns and the John Reese and the guys who started all of this, that was what it was all about. It was to have time freedom, to spend more time with our families. And it's almost like, I'm going to get a little sidetrack, right? Okay, so I don't know how many people are into rap, but like if you look at the history of rap, like Tupac and Biggie, they were talking about real life stuff. Today, it's like about how much bling you've got, how, you know, it's like popping bottles and women. It's like more shallow level stuff. And I feel that there's a little bit of that in our industry. Like when we first started out, this whole thing was based on like, we need time freedom. We want, you know, to spend more time with our families. We want to travel the world. And we've kind of got lost into this like popping bottles, Lamborghinis, how much money do you have kind of thing. And I can't change everything, but I can change me.
I love that. Appreciate you sharing that. So you said just watch. So let's kind of go back to where we're now AdSkills, and, you know, you're building, like you said, something like sort of like Netflix, like, and I'm sure some people that are going to listen to this are like, wait, what, a media publishing company? Like, how is that, like, courses, services, like, so what? And I feel like I see this happening too. Like there's these levels of opportunity, and it's like, okay, like there's a level of income and lifestyle and revenue, whatever, and impact that you can have as an agency, a service provider. And then when you add these, call it elements of leverage, media, content, curriculum, the training pieces, it like puts you up, and like your business is sort of different now. It's not just, you're not just charging for your time, but like you have this multiplier, and the company becomes more valuable. So to talk to me a little bit like what your view on, I guess, what maybe through the lens of AdSkills, but even just like us service providers, how can we be thinking about media, and or how are you thinking about it moving forward? I know I was super loaded, but
no, it's great. I have a lot to say, and you know, a lot of I've been thinking about on that is, if you think about where the big companies are, I love all of our top guys, you know, the Russells, the Frank Gerns, you know, the guys that pioneered this industry. Thank you. You paved the way for guys like us. Thank you so much. But I look bigger, you know, and it's like, okay, there's like these giant companies out there, the Skillshares, the Facebooks, you know, the Netflix, the Masterclass, you know. It's like, man, how do I break out there? You know, what do I got to do there? And so it's been a whole new education. However, a lot of the stuff that we've learned in direct response, in funnels, landing pages, those things carry out very, very well. Like you actually can become a ninja in this other world, because a lot, that world, they don't really know. And a lot of times what they do is they go get a bunch of money from a venture capital, and you know, you get $5 million. Well, when you have $5 million, you have some time to figure things out. You know, you can kind of break a bunch of bottles until you find out, okay, this way works. So if we pair up what we know in this world about actually converting, making money, paid ads, acquisition, we take that knowledge into that world, it's a superpower, you know, because now you actually know how to acquire customers and build funnels and increase average customer value, lifetime value, with the pairing of the backing. It's the best of both worlds, you know. I mean, we can become kings, you know, in that space. And so the business model that I'm building, it's in the e-learning space, e-learning industry. And then specifically our business model is called SVOD, subscription video on demand. That is the business model of Netflix, Masterclass, and a lot of other places that are out there. It's actually quite more popular than we know. Just because we haven't heard those things doesn't mean there's not like a Frank Kern of that space, you know. And so the SVOD business model is basically, and there's like AVOD and PVOD. There's all these different things, but essentially SVOD means for one subscription price, you unlock all the videos on the platform. Udemy is a la carte. Skillshare is you get everything, you know. And most of these guys are charging between $14.99 a month. So we're competitively priced in that. And then a lot of them have annuals, but yeah, that's the model, is you bring in a lot more classes and you bring in a lot more customers. However, you stack what we know, right? Upsells. So instead of, imagine you sign into Netflix and they're like, hey, would you like to add the Disney's Greatest Playlist to your account for another $99? You know, a lot of us would, or the Marvel, or the whatever it is for you, you know, all the Sylvester Stallone, all the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like some kind of a bundle that you could add to your account. Now, all of a sudden, that $19.99 membership is $100 average order value, you know? And so I'm taking what we know to that world, and it's just going to be amazing. That's why I'm like, just watch. It's going to take me some time, because I got like a whole new education. I got to do the marketing. I got to do the split testing. I got to rebuild. So it's going to take me some time, but I know what's going to happen.
Like when you think of, I guess, just that in itself as kind of an opportunity, and then you look at all the people that you've helped, and like, hey, you're a service provider, you have these skills. Like, how do you think other service providers and agencies that are in their growth trajectory, like, should they start considering something like this? How should they be looking at this from, how this could be a part of their business, or do you think they should?
I'm glad you asked me that, because I get asked that question because I've made that transition. And so a lot of people think I don't like the agency model anymore, or like I failed at the agency or whatever. It wasn't that. I was doing great. I made the decision to switch. The real answer is you should be doing both, as I was. I was selling courses when I had the agency. It's phenomenal lead gen. It's a great way to acquire customers. And then you cherry pick instead of having to say yes to whatever lead comes your way. You have this funnel that is immediately profitable with courses. And now you can cherry pick the best clients off of that. And so we're even doing that with AdSkills right now. We have an 8-figure agency that we're partnering with where we'll be able to funnel deals, because we already have people coming to us looking for media buyers because they know we've got a bunch of them. And then we've got the media buyers, and so we have both sides of the market. Just needed a partner because I can't do everything myself. So we partnered with someone who will be the ringleader to plug in. Hey, I'm looking for a media buyer. I am a media buyer. Boop. And then so we'll have a back end. And just because I'm doing that doesn't mean nobody else can. There's enough customers in this world that we all can be doing something like this. And that's what I really think people should be doing, is look at the course business as a great downsell, as well as a great acquisition funnel, lead gen acquisition funnel. That's, you can have your leads even be profitable or break even. So that's what I think people should be doing. I don't think that they should look at either or. And the dangerous thing about either or is a lot of people, they're kind of at the point of, I don't know if I want to have this agency. I don't know if I want to handle, do I want to learn how to hire? Do I want to learn how to systemize my business, productize my services, or do I just want to jump ship because I think selling products is going to be easier? You're gonna run into the same problems. You have to. Any business, you're gonna have to learn how to hire. You're gonna have to learn how to systemize. You're gonna have to learn accounting. You gotta kind of tough love a little bit, guys. We all gotta grow up at some point, and we got to learn some of these things that we don't want to in order to grow out there. And you may avoid the problem for a little bit by switching business models, but the problem's going to come back. Figure out how you can have both of them in your company. That's what I got to say.
I effing love that. And so when we rebranded in 2020 to Alt Agency, that was the premise, is you shouldn't have one revenue stream that is primarily your time for money. How do we take this knowledge and expertise that you have and turn it into a curriculum, a course, package it in a way? Some of our clients do it as coaching. Some of our clients do it as training. Some of our clients do it as 2-day workshops. Some of them do it as an intro course, like you said. But all of them, they're kind of finding how they can take their own IP and experience and pre-built systems that they've, used for years inside the service to turn it into something that they can sell in a way more affordable and profitable way that doesn't require their time. And we fell into it, by accident. And now I'm oh my God, this was so much better being able to have these multiple tiers. Like you said, there's it covers acquisition. It's now I get to cherry pick. Oh my God, the number of times that we've had clients say that. They're hey, we sold this 8-week thing. And it was very choreographed. They didn't, there was no scope creep or any of that stuff. And then they want to jump into our customized services. You know what, Greg? They're much better clients now than if they had just came into the custom service. We taught them how to be clients in 8 weeks. They're not demanding. They follow, they adhere to the boundaries. And I was I know, it's great, right? So I'm totally glad that you're that's your trajectory. I didn't know that deep on that. So I feel we're very much in alignment there. Do you feel they're in my mind, and this is actually something that you kind of started going there, and I'd love your take on this. We, for a long time, I was, and I'm still kind of on the fence of, you kind of need to have a little bit of the expertise and specialization first to know what to quote unquote package up into a course or productize whatever. Yeah. And there's some people that like, in the guru space are like, yeah, but that's like, if you're selling them that they have to specialize first to then do this, that feels like a lot more work, which makes your offer less compelling. I'm like, yes, but like, if you're just a generalist and you don't know what you're good at, like it's going to be equally as hard to go and launch something that is a course that you've never technically done before. So I've always come from the mindset of like, you kind of have to have specialized in something versus just leaping into creating courses. Like, what's your take on that? Obviously, you went the path of you were doing the thing to know how to teach the thing. What's your thought?
You definitely want to specialize. And then I'm not against the act as if thing. We all got to start something,
True.
We all, show me somebody who didn't start with a template or didn't like,
Right.
hey, I think I can just change the words of that thing over there. Like, we all got to start somewhere. So I'm not hating on that process, but eventually you have to grow out of that. You have to get results. Otherwise you're a con artist. Okay. You can't just take people's money and then never deliver. Like, at some point you're just a con artist, let's real talk.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Act as if is okay, but you still have to deliver. Okay. You can pretend, but you also have to deliver at the same time. And so as you're delivering, you should be learning. And as you're learning, you should specialize in an area. For me, it was the finance, the stock market world, and then a little bit of the prepper world. So find something that's interesting to you. Maybe you help sports companies. Maybe you help authors. A friend of mine, he helps Christian musicians. And he's, helped some of the biggest names, he takes the product launch that we all know about, and he brings that to Christian musicians who are launching albums, and so you can take this info that we know and you can bring it into other industries. And that's where you kind of get your own lane. The problem I see a lot of guys doing is they're like, oh, okay, I can start a course. And so then you're just another Facebook ads course. And then you're competing with the best in the world against this thing. That's not the right way to do it. You want to be like best in the pool installers, the best Facebook guy for the pool installers, or the screen patios, or the excavators, or the stock market. Like, there's a lot of industries that really need our help. Like, seriously, I'm screaming. There's a lot of industries that need our help, and we need to all stop piling on each other and spread out a little bit. Okay. Yes. And we can all make a lot of money.
There's a lot of the, and some of them are even like I respect them as people, like they're good people. It's like you're teaching someone to just have your business doing your business, and they don't like they're serving. It's like they don't care who they're serving, right? Like, oh, why do you serve dentists? It's like, well, I bought this program on how to do lead gen for dentists because dentists have money. It's like, all right, like when you start making money and you're like unhappy and you're hitting the wall, it's probably gonna be because you don't care about dentists. Like more than anything else, like you're not gonna be motivated to go take it to the next level because like you don't actually like the person you're serving. So I see that a bunch.
I call that getting in the ring with Tyson. Anybody can get in the ring with Tyson. You can. It takes you just got to walk up in there, climb under the rope, run away for a while, but eventually Tyson's gonna hit you. Okay. And what are you going to do when Tyson hits you? You better have something else in your bag of tricks. So that's where I see a lot of guys, like they're getting up in the ring. You're putting on the whole show and everything like that. They're ducking and dodging, but eventually that wall that you talk about is going to come, and it comes for everyone. And then what are you going to do? You got to have something real eventually, or eventually the FTC is going to find you, so like one way or another, you're going to have to get something real going on.
One of the folks in our group, because I posted that I was going to be chatting with you, and a couple of people asked the same question. Is there a reason why you transitioned in the order that you did, or evolved in the order that you did? And now knowing what you know, kind of to the young up and coming service providers, is there something that you would do differently if you had to restart?
So the agency, I never set out to build an agency. I was in between. I had just sold a course business. I was in the website flipping space. I had a membership site, We did well. I didn't really love it. It was it got too biz-oppy, to make money online-y. And I just didn't love that. And so I sold it and then forgot that when you sell something, you have to build something again. Otherwise you will eventually run out of money. So I had like my last $4,000 left before I realized like, hey, the bank account's not refilling. And so then I got a job working with Rich Sheffrin. I was his traffic guy for a little bit. And when you're Rich Sheffrin's traffic guy, people just start saying, hey, will you be my traffic guy? And I said, yes, and yes, and yes. And I had an agency. And with Rich,
that was like what happened to me.
Yeah. So I had that experience, that time to really perfect my craft. I had some things land in my lap, and then I added courses as a downsell. And so if I could do it on purpose differently, I would probably start with, well, you might start with a client or two, because you got to take the financial pressure off quickly. And courses, not always easy to start, because you have to have an email list, or you have to know someone with an email list. It's a little bit hard to get that going. So get one or two clients so that you can take the financial pressure off. You can pay the bills. Quickly start courses, because that's a funnel where you can stop trading time for dollars. Okay. And now you're going to have a paid acquisition of your lead gen funnel. Put an agency on the back of that for the back end profits. And now you're going to have a really strong business.
How would you advise someone, like, and obviously this ranges based on this type of agency or service that they are, but like how to think about what that first course should be? Because I know you talked about it being like a good lead in to being a good client so that you can cherry pick. So like, is there a way that you would think through, like, if your service is X, it should only be like a piece of something you're doing? Or like, how would you think about positioning the lead-in course, for the lack of a better name?
So having sold courses for 17 years, one thing I will tell everybody is I really regretted being in like the Facebook, Google ads course space, because they change so quickly. I remember the day we launched our Google display course, the very next day they had the big like interface change. And I was gutted. Because now all of a sudden I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get all these customer supports of like, oh, your thing's old and this button's not where that button is. And like everything still worked, but it looked different. And so I had to refilm the whole thing. And it wasn't until, little sidetrack, I had signed up for Bible college about a year or so ago. And I'm watching this course and I'm realizing, I was like, wait a minute, this guy made this course like 12 years ago. But it's still perfectly relevant. It doesn't change religion. And then it dawned on me, like, I need to create more evergreen type courses. And so we teach more the evergreen, like what doesn't change. Every ad network needs CTR. Every ad network needs like human psychology, landing pages, media buying math, how it understands CTR and CPC and AOV and all those different things that we talk about. So I teach that, which is more evergreen and doesn't really change, sales psychology, sales processes. So if you're going to get into the course world, try to teach something that's not going to change on you tomorrow. That's all I'm trying.
Methodology, process, principles.
And there's lots of things. I mean, there's marketing, there's persuasion, there's sales, there's lots of stuff that we can pick from. How do you pick? Like, throw a dart. I mean, they're all work. If you look at the whole gamut of business, from finances to sales, acquisition, all of that works. Just pick one that you resonate. Remember, the wall's going to come, so pick one that like you care about and you want to study, become great at, and do that. But don't pick something like TikTok ads. I know everybody's going to create a TikTok ads course right now, and that thing is so young that they're going to be changing and evolving, and you're going to be updating your videos like every 3 months. It's so trying to help people avoid that.
So kind of to wrap up a little bit, I know when we started, you mentioned that this is kind of a topic that you've been thinking a lot about, and even maybe having some preliminary conversations around too. Like, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would love, that you've been thinking about, that you think we should be sharing?
I think as a whole, all of us ad buyers, I'm calling it ad buyers. I don't love the word media buyers, and people just don't understand it. We do, but the rest of the world just doesn't get that name. But look, I'm talking to all of us media buyers, ad buyers, whatever. we need to be talking about machine learning, AI, algorithms, much more than we are. We're talking about funnels. We're talking about landing pages, conversions. That's important stuff. But the Tyson's coming, and Tyson's name is machine learning, neural networks, AI, and we're overly romantic about, oh, there's no way that a machine could ever write copy. Look at Jarvis. Look at, these are elementary versions. These are, phase one of this, and Jarvis is pretty good for being a phase one. These blog writing softwares, copywriting softwares, they're pretty good for being like phase one. Think about the iPhone 1, okay? That's what they are right now. And we're now iPhone 13. When these things are iPhone 13, I promise you, they're going to be writing better sales copy than you. They're going to be creating better ads than you. And I believe that we are the Alexa, okay? So our client says, hey, Justin, hey, Greg, right? Instead of saying, hey, Alexa or hey, Google, right? And so we are the voice interface, and then we go onto the computer and we type in with the client. It's not going to be long before the client can just talk right to the computer, and the computer says, choose this ad. We know these 3,000 ads had 6% or higher CTR. Okay, I'll click that one and choose this layout template because we have Google Analytics and Facebook pixels on all these landing pages. So we know that this layout converts the most. Okay, yeah, I'll click that one there. That's coming, and we need to be having a conversation about how we deal with that much more, because the thing about exponential curves is you really only see it in that little U down there at the bottom, and then the math takes off on you and that thing rockets. And if you're not talking about it and doing something in that little U, you're too late when that thing takes off.
Is it safe to say that like a way to restate what you just said is like this, the analogy of like we as the agency possibly right now, or the expert service provider, like we're going to become the Alexa, which means we need to have the answers and also be able to like to these types of questions, and then either transfer that knowledge and or show someone how to do something, because some of that labor is going to go in the hands of the consumer, and we need to be the one that knows the methodology, the one that knows what to do. Thus, the importance of having the media component, the e-learning component of your practice, of your specialty.
Right now, we're all mechanics. We don't crawl up underneath a car and turn a wrench, but we have a laptop and we have a mouse, and we get in there and we're mechanics, we're technicians, we're doing the work. The machines are going to do that for us. And so what we need to do is we need to be learning, how does that JavaScript tag work? The pixel code work. How is the tracking programs communicating with the different servers? What is a neural network? What is GPT-3? That's the program that's building all these Jarvises and whatever. What is that stuff? Because we're going to move from the people who are smart. We're going to move from mechanics, because the machines are going to do the mechanic work, just as robots build cars, right? But somebody still has to run those robots. Somebody still runs that factory. And that's where we're going to be, the smart guys. They're going to transition from mechanics to almost consultants, and we're going to learn how to run the machines. The machines will do the hard work for us, which is awesome, because I don't really love doing that keyboard warrior stuff. I want to be in the vision, the whiteboarding, that's the fun stuff. And that's what I'm saying, is we're going to be able to be there. But you're not if you don't learn about this stuff, because you're going to get passed by.
Yeah, I heard someone say in regards to like, it was in a statement to like a web designer, and they were like, you as a web designer, you becoming better at web design isn't going to help you build a successful web design business. You need to learn business skills. Stop. Like there's a line where maybe it's like the craft is like, enough about the craft, and you have to kind of rise up to that, like that consulting level, the advisory level of your area of expertise. That's awesome. I love it. We are very much in alignment on a lot of these things. So I love that. Where can people find out more about you? Where should they go?
I mean, there's AdSkills, but what I tell people to do is go on Google, type in Justin Brooke interview, go on YouTube, type in Justin Brooke or AdSkills. I got a ton of free stuff out there.
He does.
Try the free cookie first. If you like it, then come on. We're only $20. So
yeah. Amazing, man. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it, sharing your wisdom, your experience, your heart. I think a lot of service providers, agency owners that will resonate with your journey. And I think this kind of exposes a really amazing opportunity to think about like where the next 3 to 10 years look like for them. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we'll have to do this again sometime as it continues to evolve.
Yeah, I love these topics. So I'm glad you had me on, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome, man.